So, for the last time,
Brooklyn American Ale.
let's have
One more round.
Thank you very much for joining us for a very, very special episode of Film Club. I am one of your hosts, as always, Andy Harrison, and to my right, it's Andy Donaldson.
I should have cheers you first. Hello.
Cheers.
Oh, God. Well played, Brooklyn.
We say it's a very, very special episode because of a few reasons. First off, this is 1 year. This is 52 episodes of Film Club every single week. We managed to do Film Club for a full year without missing a single week.
Yeah, okay, that's quite impressive. So through Christmas, through America,
through
sporadic trips to
We went
Italy.
abroad. You went abroad a few times.
Yeah, fuck.
There was a whole Christmas period. It's all like.
And then we used to do a double episode.
Yep, we've done a lot. So 1 year, full year of Film Club. But as we mentioned last week, if you were watching, this is also our very last week on the channel as being one more round. If you're an avid one more round watcher, which I think like 3 people are, but we love those 3 people. When you come back next week, Film Club's still going to continue. But when you come back next week, we will have a brand new name, and we will not spoil that name for you.
You really
yet.
enjoy these, I'll tell you next week.
Oh yeah, going to keep you going. But you'll see next week that the channel is going to get rebranded. Film Club will still stay a Film Club. And this week, we haven't watched a film.
No.
We're going to take a look back at 1 year of Film Club, and we want to have a talk about some of our 5 favourite each. We each have 5 favourite films that we have watched, uncovered, discovered, rediscovered, thank you, over the past 52 weeks.
That is a nice beer, just to start. That's decent. Well played, Brooklyn. Brooklyn American Ale.
That is actually really good.
Yeah.
So, Andy, do you want to start with your number 5?
Yeah. I struggled. There was many to do, and this one's a tie between 2 of them. But ultimately, excuse me, it's got to go down to 28 Days Later.
28 Days Later.
Just on the basis that rediscovering this again, it's actually, this was one of the ones, Danny Boyle. And I always loved it for its soundtrack, everything, but to see this film and how it, at the time, it changed the horror scene, the reason we've got the Sony in the background. You know,
yeah, with the Canon.
Yeah, is it a Canon?
It's a Canon XL1S. So if you haven't seen the episode 28 Days Later, this is the camera 28 Days Later was shot on.
Whoops, I thought it was a Sony. My bad. I know you have a lot of Sonys in here. So it was nice revisiting that again and just seeing this film. Back when Cillian Murphy was just starting out.
Yeah, and that weird sort of cinematography it's got going on, where it's all like kind of really, really low end. But the guy, I can't remember the guy's name, was short, unfortunately, but he squeezes as much out of that film as he possibly can.
Is it Anthony Dodd Mantle?
Yes. Well done. And then the soundtrack.
John Murphy. So, as I explained in that episode as well, John Murphy does some incredible soundtracks. I'm sure at some point down the line we've been doing Sunshine. He did Kick-Ass. It's he did that with someone else. It was kind of a group effort.
Yes. Doesn't he reuse some of the music from Sunshine?
I was a bit miffed off about that, but you can't deny how well it works for Kick-Ass, especially that scene, the Kryptonite scene.
Yeah.
Adagio and D minor, which it was on Sunshine, works exceptionally well.
So good.
John Murphy's really good at building you up. It was a fantastic film, and so it was between that and Slumdog Millionaire, because Slumdog Millionaire was equally as good.
Oh, Slumdog.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I love the way that he used Who Wants to Be a Millionaire as like the trigger point to move the film forward through our experiences. That's fucking genius.
I do like that you were weighing up 2 Danny Boyle films.
Yeah.
And I agree that they're very, very different films. But 20 Days Later is such an impact on film as well.
Nostalgically impact as well. I mean, we used to watch that loads when we were kids, zombie films in general, but impact on films in general.
Oh, just that opening sequence with London that's abandoned. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So just to clarify what we said in the episode, the only shot at specific times to try and they had police cordons to allow the public, just hold on a second, we'll do this for an hour.
And you're like crazy early in the morning.
Yeah, crazy early, lots of shoots and the odd bit of CGI as and when. And it looks great. It looks fantastically great.
Looks amazing, yeah. Cool. Good pick.
Thank you, mate. Thank you very much.
So my number 5.
Go on.
Mulholland Drive.
Okay. I thought you'd put this in. I I was going to say surprising. I was like, I wasn't surprised at that.
Mulholland Drive
Yeah.
is probably the film that, over the last year, it threw us through the biggest loop. Like, we almost struggled for, like, how do you approach Mulholland Drive?
How do you approach the fucking tell a story, Andy?
How do you explain what the story of that film is almost? Like, by the end of it, you kind of don't really feel the first time round like you understood everything.
It's definitely
I think we
one of those.
both said at the end of the episode we just kind of want to revisit it. We want to dive back in and try it again. And
It's hard though. It's a hard watch.
yeah. It's not a casual watch at all. But that's what David Lynch does so well. The director of the film, David Lynch, he makes these amazingly kind of haunting, dreamlike sequences.
Yeah.
And there are two things which every time I went through this list of like what films we did this year, I looked at Mulholland Drive and two things jumped out at me. One, the diner scene. The diner scene where the two guys are talking in the diner. He's talking about his dreams and like he's basically predicted his future in his dreams. They go outside and they see that creepy looking guy.
Fucking scared me, that.
And like that guy, honestly, like if anyone looks it up online, if you haven't seen the film, that guy on his own isn't that scary. He's a little odd looking, but
Is it the fact that we know what's going to happen?
It's because of the atmosphere and the tone that Lynch builds into that scene, and then suddenly just reveals this thing which is so out of place.
Yeah.
And another kind of similar scene, the one that really hits home, just stayed with me the entire year since we watched that
I know what you're on
film,
about.
is the opera sequence,
Yep.
of the performance sequence. So the guy comes out and says, everything you're about to see is fake, it's all recorded, there are no performers.
And yet
You sit there and you just get lost in this girl's performance, the song. The emotion of it. You just buy every second of it. And then she collapses and the song keeps going.
it's just there to prove his point.
Utterly loved it.
Yeah.
Hard as hell, but loved it.
Yeah, and good shout with Mulholland Drive there. I was thinking it like that was on my short list, but I'd have to watch it more and more times because it'd be proper throw me, that film.
Yeah. Number 4.
Number 4. Let me just revert back to my list because I've temporarily forgot. Oh, okay. I'm sure you might have this in your list. I'm not too sure.
Ooh.
Barry Lyndon.
Barry Lyndon, not on my list.
Really?
Not on my list.
Okay. I had to because I made a short list and it was 28 days later than Barry Lyndon that were in the short list. The other three are set. And I was thinking, God, it was such an experience. It was such a huge, long film. All this stuff happened. And I was just like, I remember at the end just watching, what the fuck, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Weren't we? And it's just all this stuff he goes through, is the way he meanders through the film. And the story just goes, and then you just have the incredible end sequence, which mirrors, but also it completely contrasts the start sequence when he's shooting the captain because he's become the person he hates.
Yeah. The way it mirrors at the end, kind of there's this lovely parallel that's drawn between the two.
Absolutely. And it was fucking fantastic. Absolutely an incredible performance there.
Yeah.
Let me catch the name, guy.
Some real sort of groundbreaking cinematography as well.
Oh yeah, of course, because it's all mostly natural light, isn't it?
He developed his own lenses for
Ryan
it.
O'Neill. Zeiss lenses.
Some Zeiss lenses, yep.
Because it's the moon ones.
Loads of it shot by candlelight.
And there's that scene there where they're talking through the via candlelight, and he's hitting on the lass, isn't he, the Duchess?
Yes, where they had that weird sort of non-spoken flirtation thing.
Yeah, that was
brilliant.
So Barry Lyndon.
Barry Lyndon, good call. Barry Lyndon was almost on my list.
Who did it? Director.
Stanley Kubrick.
I don't think we mentioned it.
Which is, honestly, that's very shocking. Stanley Kubrick's like one of my favourite directors ever. So for Barry Lyndon to not be on this list, I think speaks to the quality of the films that we've actually just kind of stumbled upon this year.
I think he's going to be fantastic at doing others.
Next up, for me, fourth. This is an early one for us.
I know
Taxi Driver.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to say Raging Bull.
I sat there with them both, and I was like, Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, and I almost went Raging Bull. Almost, because the imagery of the opening sequence is so strong, and how that character develops is
performance by De Niro.
De Niro's performance, but De Niro's performance in both
Taxi
of these
Driver,
films.
Yeah.
Taxi Driver just won out because of, I think it has a slightly more eerie atmosphere.
Yep.
There's something really interesting about the atmosphere. You can feel its influence on things like Drive later down the line. And ultimately, his character arc and where it ends, I think, is a bolder statement than Raging Bull.
I actually love that ending.
I love Raging Bull, though. I just want to say that Raging Bull was very nearly on this list.
I'm looking forward to watching that again, at some point.
Yeah. Taxi Driver, hell of a film.
Yeah, that was the ending was my favourite bit of that film. I loved how he didn't go down doing what he wanted to do, but he went down saving at least one person. Yeah, great scene.
So good. So number 3.
So number 3, it had to be on the list. What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah.
What We Do in, okay.
Definitely. It's just fantastic. And as I mentioned in the episode, to be able to watch it on YouTube and have all these clips come together in some kind of context and just seeing this film, and it was even more hilarious watching through.
Of course, because you'd seen like scenes on YouTube beforehand.
I actually read loads about it, and I hadn't actually seen the whole thing as the whole chronologically, let's say.
Yeah.
So to have that and just to see the true genius of Taika Waititi, and obviously I haven't seen his other film, Hunt for the Wilder People. Thor 3 is coming out rather soon. I had to put some of his in Taika. Absolutely incredible. It's just
fantastic.
It's so well done. And in the end, it's a mockumentary, which so apparently I realise now American Vandal is a mockumentary, which you were laughing at the other week.
That's so funny. I'd love it if you'd done this with What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh yeah, I just think it's a real film. Oh yeah, vampires are real. Oh shit, it's a mockumentary.
I think it has a great indie sensibility as well because
Absolutely.
It feels totally low budget, but not in a bad way. It's not a film that needs a high budget to kind of pull this off. And that lovely story is the guy's name Paul? Stu. The lovely story with Stu.
Yeah, just how it improvises around this character. It did. It worked about how he came from just little snippets here and there appearing on the show, and it was just like more and more. Let's make this about Stu, and he's our central point.
Yeah.
No one kills Stu and becomes a werewolf and unites them together. That's incredible.
Utterly love the bit where he goes down into the basement and he's talking to the Nosferatu style guy. I can't remember his name. Peter.
Yeah.
And he's going like,
he's a vegetarian.
So he's a vegetarian, so we don't turn him into a vampire. And he's nodding along like, oh yeah, it makes sense. It's class.
Peter's great. He's like there's flashback pictures in it where he's actually smiling and stuff.
Oh, he's in the party and stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing film. Really great sense of humour. Very interested to see what he does with Thor 3.
I'm actually quite excited. I think he'll do all right. I know you're a bit more sceptical.
I am, but we'll cover that in some other time. Number 3 for me. So from the last one, which is a very, very early episode that we did, actually before we were even putting clips down there, was Taxi Driver. This one, very, very recent. Blade Runner.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Blade Runner, I have made an exception. My plan for this list was I'm not going to put anything on this list that I've seen before, because the things that really resonated with me this year were stuff where I hadn't seen before.
Yeah, like Barry Lyndon, like a lot of the films, even
Exactly.
like Raging Bull, it's just...
And I made an exception for Blade Runner, because Blade Runner was that damn good. Yeah. Blade Runner is exactly how people should be making blockbusters now. And they're just not. People need to get their shit together. Hollywood needs to get its shit together, because Blade Runner is the epitome of what a summer blockbuster should be. It's big and it's epic, but it's still telling a personal story. It's creating this fascinating, realised world. Amazing performance from Harrison Ford.
Yes, it is. It's actually fantastic. On a little side note, we're going to watch it tonight, the new one.
It's out tonight.
Well, it was out... Oh, shit, it's on Friday.
I think isn't it? This week it's coming out.
Let's go watch it.
Soon.
We will be watching it.
One.
We will be watching it. Very good show.
Directed by Ridley Scott.
Of course.
In fact, he was my trade-off, right? Because my agreement was I wasn't going to put anything on this list that I'd seen before. Just my own personal rule, we didn't agree upon that. I didn't put Alien on this list.
Yeah, but this is favourite films that we've looked through Film Club, not favourite films.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you ask me favourite films, Alien's always in my top 10 somewhere.
But discovering...
But I've seen Alien 1,000 times over.
Yeah.
I utterly love it. But I'd seen Blade Runner once before. And revisiting this, getting Ridley Scott at Ridley Scott's prime, seeing, honestly, like from a personal standpoint, a little bit of like our own local area kind of reflected in this futuristic world.
That was good. That was really good.
Loved it. Tears in the Rain.
Fucking brilliant.
These films will all get washed away like tears in the rain.
So, number 2. And it had to be up there. I thought this is an exceptional shout by our mate Alex, Turbo Kid.
Turbo Kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? Going back through our lists, I'd almost forgotten we did Turbo Kid.
Yeah.
I saw it, I was like, oh my God.
It was fantastic because it blew me out the water. I remember Alex saying at work, he was like, go on, do this film Turbo Kid. He was like, it's 80s. It's in a post-apocalyptic future. And I was like, I like the sound of this. looked online, it was like, reviews were like quite good, and I was thinking, well, it's not like the shitty 5% Rotten Tomatoes film, it's actually genuine, got some backing behind it. It's indie, it's by Montreal, I think, they're the directors, 3 of them, weren't there?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, fuck it, let's go for it. And we went in, and it was just like something completely new.
Yeah.
It was like a great mashup of, hilariously great mashup. It was like Mad Max meets, what's a funny, Mad Max meets Daft Punk meets.
It was kind of like if Mad Max was. What was it? We made a comparison in the bloody video,
Yeah, we
didn't
did
we?
as
I
well.
can't remember what it was.
Either way, those who have seen it will know what I mean, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Full of 80s kind of love for 80s.
Yeah, kind of
memorabilia.
like a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe, but I think actually done in a more grounded way than Guardians of the Galaxy did.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it was actually, to be honest, in that film, that even the effects were all 90s, but they didn't have relied too much on the effects, did they?
No, and like the effects were sometimes done for humor. Those kind of supposed to be over the top.
Yeah,
Wonderful film.
great shot. Yeah,
Really, really unique. Like if we, a year ago today, I would never have thought we would have watched that film.
well, this is what I liked about film
Great.
club, the fact that we went out to seek and watch films like that.
Yep, that was the whole message of Film Club. Was we were trying to bring obscure and sometimes not obscure, but like older films which a lot of people aren't watching for some reason.
Yeah.
And bring those to the front and being like, hey, look, these films are amazing for these reasons.
Number
two. My number 2. I hope you like this. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Okay, well played.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is my number 2. I say that because that's always been in your top 10.
It always was up until we watched it again. I did struggle to watch it again. I was thinking, because I loved it as a kid. And then now it was just like, well, I've seen a lot more films since then. Whilst it's still a fantastic film, it might be on the edge threshold. Fantastic film though, great performance.
Great performance for him again. Jack Nicholson in his prime.
But I think Jack Nicholson, Nurse Ratched, she's up there as one of the biggest villains out there.
Yes, exactly.
And there was someone else as another
amazing cinematic villain, and then the group dynamic as well that film has going for it. All the inmates who are kind of like, do you call them inmates? Yeah, they're inmates, aren't they? They're not patients.
Yeah.
All the patients. It's basically inmates
I couldn't
in that
think
film.
myself, yeah.
All the patients who have this wonderful dynamic, this wonderful chemistry together.
Especially when they go on the boat trip and stuff like that.
To go out on the boat trip, which is just, and the film is just like, I love how understated it is. And it's like, it's this very heavy personal drama, but nothing is overblown to like crazy degree. Everything's pretty understated. And then you have one of the most heartbreaking ends to a film ever.
I think that's why it stuck with me. It threw me up. Threw me off. I used to watch a lot of these films, and when he what's his name, dies, he kills himself, doesn't he? And Nicholson goes at Ratchet.
Yeah.
And he comes back and he's been lobotomized. And then Chief has to break out from him. So they were
horrible.
so close to getting away, and they didn't.
And then Chief has to pillow.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, fuck. Good shout. Very good shout.
So Andy, you're number 1.
I'm intrigued to hear yours, as well, because I guessed a couple of films you have in yours, and I can't think of any now. So I've got 2 options it could be. Anyway, mine, and if it's not yours, I'd be very surprised. Boyhood.
It's not mine.
Is it not?
It was. I sat there and looked at it and I was like, I'm not going to put it. It just doesn't make it.
Okay.
But, like, shout out to Boyhood. Is that your number 1 then?
Yeah.
Good call. That is a hell of a film. We did that like episode
4.
4.
Yeah.
4.
Mate, honestly, watching that, I haven't had something like watching a film I haven't had an experience watching a film when I watched Boyhood in a long, long, long time. That overwhelmingness. I mean, we've got Barry Lyndon, even, what was your 5th one? David Lynch.
Mulholland Drive.
Like, their experiences, but with Boyhood, you literally lived this film through this kid and through his family.
Yep.
And it kind of broke down the boundaries of watching it on the format that it's film. It was like, it felt a lot more real, a lot more intimate, and it was truly breathtakingly fantastic. Richard Linklater.
Yeah, who the guy's fascinating. Like, I keep meaning to watch the Before trilogy.
Yeah.
We might have to on Film Club at some point.
Definitely.
Because that would be an amazing 1, 2, 3 to do. The Before trilogy, isn't he the guy who did the film which no one will ever see? I could be thinking of someone else. There's a film which I think it could be John Malkovich did, It's locked away in a safe, and that safe's going to open in
Oh
how
yes,
many
yeah,
years.
the time capsule one.
I'm actually, now that I'm saying it, I'm thinking it might not be Richard Linklater.
It could well be. It couldn't be, but it's. I've heard about this time capsule, and it might be the John Malkovich. It could be the one that did Being John Malkovich, the screenwriter to that.
Do you mean
remember.
Spike Jones?
No, Spike Jones is screenwriter.
Oh, I can't remember who wrote it.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Good call. I mean, just like you were talking about Barry Lyndon, where it starts to where you end, you feel like you've been on this immense journey.
Yeah.
Boyhood even more so because there is a real journey to it. You genuinely saw this kid just grow up.
And it is
over
part of the
course
actor's life as well.
2
It's
hours.
influenced his character.
Yeah, like was it every
2 years.
every 2 years they went back and shot for like a couple of days,
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Yeah.
and just hell, like one of the things we pointed out in that film. If you've never seen it, go and watch it and just appreciate how the way they shot at the beginning when he was a kid to, what was it, 12 years later?
Yeah, 12 years.
How they shot 12 years later, it's identical. Like, they actually made sure to keep the same filmmaking technique so it fits together as a whole.
Honestly.
Wonderful.
So.
It's my number one, Unforgiven.
Oh, whoa, no way.
Unforgiven.
So I thought it might be Fantastic Mr. Fox or something else.
I was tempted because, Fantastic Mr. Fox. But
Good shout.
Unforgiven.
Good shout.
I've struggled for so long to get into Westerns.
Yeah.
And to find that love of Westerns. So that I can go back and
brilliant
revisit some of the
That was up
old
there.
classics.
That was in shortlist.
And watching Unforgiven put together everything that is a Western into perspective for me, it brought forward the psychological impact that those things have that I think I needed to get into that genre. Upon watching that, I am very, very eager. And over the next couple of weeks, I am going to go and watch Sergio Leone's trilogy. I'm going to go and see like maybe some of the John Ford films. I want to go see more of Clint Eastwood's work. It represents so much in terms of not just an actor's rise and fall, but also a genre's rise and fall.
Yeah, yeah.
And
it kind of closed off the Western genre and like it's the trend of Western.
It makes such a bold statement, but such a well crafted statement.
In both in the actor sense and the director sense as well.
Yeah, and then to have all that put together in such a quiet, thoughtful film.
And Gene Hackman.
Again, if we're talking about like
villains,
you just by the end of it, like from the beginning, you don't think of him too much as a villain. By the end of it,
yeah.
Oh, you hate him. You hate him.
Very good shout, that mate.
So much. So
I'm surprised that we didn't double up on anything.
Actually, no, I'm very, very impressed.
51 films that we did, and we both chose 5 different ones.
Yep.
Very well played.
That's why this works, though.
Yeah.
So, I hope if you have joined us at any point over the past 52 episodes of Film Club, I hope you had fun. If you are here right now, know that we absolutely love you. We have loved every single one of the likes, comments, subscribers that we've had over the past year. We've just had fun.
Going, oh, Andy, we've got a new subscriber. What is it? 48 subscribers. Whoop, dot.
Yeah, always remember the period at the end.
Yeah.
We have loved every single episode of doing this, and even when we have to like double up, so we've got a holiday coming or something, we love doing those double episodes. We love just finding new films to watch, talk about, and share with you guys. And we can't wait to do it again for another year, but under a slightly different name.
Yep.
So, until next week, we'll see you later.
Should we tell them what we're doing?
Chuatel Ejiofor.
Chuatel Ejiofor.
If you want to get... It's a good point, actually. That's a very good point. If you want to get on board with us, if you want to watch the film for next week, the very first episode of Film Club Year 2, but with a new name, we are going to be watching... Do you know what it is?
Seven Samurai.
Seven Samurai. We are finally doing Akira Kurosawa.
That's one.
Guys, thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, bloke.
Cheers, mate.